Pride and Prejudice, Chapter 3, second video. I think I forgot to explain one word regarding last paragraph, and this word is entertain. If you think about it, probably you know the meaning of entertain as in entertainment, right? So we have entertainment. Oh, I like to watch series for entertainment, right? And then you have entertaining, all right? For example, in my opinion, I don't know, westerns are very entertaining movies, right? And then you have entertain as a verb, right? I don't know, he entertains everybody at his job with his jokes, okay? Entertainer, for example, you can be a party entertainer, right? If you are a party entertainer, you go there, I don't know, you sing songs, you make jokes, alright? So you will entertain people at parties. But that doesn't make a lot of sense if you take a look at this, the last part of the last paragraph here. In very lively hopes of Mr. Bingley's heart were entertained. So they entertained the hopes of Mr. Bingley's heart. So they went to Mr. Bingley's house there and they started, I don't know, singing to his heart, or I don't know, juggling or something like that. No. Keep in mind that here we have a very specific meaning for entertain, okay? I put this example in our Quizlet. Entertain an idea. Let me broaden this context. He entertained the idea of becoming the director. Okay. So here, entertain is hold in mind, have in mind. Okay. So all of the lively hopes were held by the girls and the mother. Okay, I have one more question about video 1 of chapter 3, about that paragraph. Why do you think the father, Mr. Bennet, didn't say anything? You know, he refused to say anything about Mr. Bingley. Possible answer, of course, it's a matter of opinion. I think he has a lot of fun, you know, seeing the poor girls suffer. Of course, he's not sadistic, right? Because for him it's not real suffering, you know, it's like petty sufferings, you know, it's like suffering about, I don't know, because they don't know the appearance of a man, right? And he has fun, you know, with those small tortures. I don't know if you have other ideas in mind. Well, let's continue. If I can but see one of my daughters happily settled at Netherfield, said Mrs. Bennet to her husband, and all the others equally well married, I shall have nothing to wish for. It seems we don't have any problem with vocabulary here, right? But take a look. This but is not in place, right? If I can but see, if I can accept, see, so she doesn't want to see. That's a very strange sentence, right? Because the meaning for but here is a completely different one. But is being used as an adverb here, and it means merely, okay? Merely, just only are the words I put there. Take a look. Hopes that lasted but a moment. Bigger context. I remember that I entertained the idea of becoming the manager. Okay, so let's imagine then the manager was fired, and then I entertained the idea of becoming a manager, even, you know, with more hopes. But my hopes lasted but a moment, right? Because right on the next day, the company announced the name of the new director. Okay? So actually, what Mrs. Bennet is saying, if I can only see one of my daughters happily settled at the Netherfield, said Mrs. Bennet to her husband, and all the others equally well married, I shall have nothing to wish for. In a few days, Mr. Bingley returned Mr. Bennet's visit, and sat about 10 minutes with him in his library. Well, before I read the rest, keep in mind there is something about this, even we don't need to search anywhere else to know that there is a kind of settled structure for the interactions in this society, right? So it's expected that he would have that return visit, right? That's why the book calls it, the books shows it as if it's something completely normal, something you would completely expect, right? And then the idea is Mr. Bennet had to go there to introduce himself so he would make his daughters available, right? So he paid his respects to this new guy there. And then Mr. Bingley had to show that he also respects Mr. Bennet, so he has to return the visit. In a few days, Mr. Bingley returned Mr. Bennet's visit and sat about 10 minutes with him in his library. He had entertained, right? He had entertained hopes of being admitted to a sight of the young ladies, of whose beauty he had heard much. But he saw only the father. The ladies were somewhat more fortunate, for they had the advantage of ascertaining, very important pronunciation there, right? So it's ascertaining, okay? Ascertaining. So they had the advantage of ascertaining from an upper window that he wore a blue coat and rode a black horse. So first let me give you ascertaining, right? Ascertain is to discover with certainty, okay? If you think about they didn't see a lot, right? What could they ascertain? They could ascertain that he was wearing a blue coat and that he rode a black horse. That's all they could say. And of course, they saw that while they were in an upper window. Next paragraph. An invitation to dinner was soon afterwards dispatched, and already had Mrs. Bennet planned the courses that were to do credit to her housekeeping, when an answer arrived which deferred it all. Well, in this case, I will, instead of reading all of it and rereading it, I'll go by parts. When I do like that, because I don't know if you realize, with the first chapter in the last video, I read all of it, I talked about the words, and I advise you to read again. When I go by parts, don't forget to stop the video if it's not the video right away. Don't forget to stop the video and read it once more to you, you know? Remember, it's very important that you get the pace. You know, it's as if, let's imagine you are listening to a song. I think it's a nice comparison. You're listening to this song and you don't know this word in the song. So the guy is singing, na 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 na, you don't know this word, you pause, you look up for the word, you get some examples, and then you continue, na na na, and then you pause again, you look up for the word, and then you pause. And that's how you heard the song. That's not how you should listen to a song, right? Of course, we're not going to do that with a song. We would listen to the song again and one more time. I know with books it is kind of harder, but it's always better, always better to get the pace of the narrative, you know, and also because we need to help our memory here, not only for vocabulary, but also the memory of the story. For example, remember that I revealed with you who were Lady Lucas and Sir William, right? Remember, at any point you are in the book, you are not reading that point, you are reading the past of the book and the future of the book as well. What do I mean by that? At any point of the book, you are recovering, and the book is recovering everything that has already happened, and you are projecting to the future because you have your guesses, your hopes, you know, your expectations, you know. Now think about it. If you don't get this part nice, this part will be affected a lot, you know. Let's imagine there's something surprising here, but it's surprising just because of the past. So it's extremely important that you get this habit of reviewing it. Okay, so remember that defer is to say, to postpone, right? I put it in our list here. Ascertain here. Defer. Oh, sorry, it's just that in our list, to postpone. I thought I had put some examples. Don't confuse defer with differ. Look, the difference is the stress, right? Our word here has the stress on the second syllable, so it's defer. The other word, that is not this one, is differ. Remember, differ is like being different, right? And differ is D-I-F-F-E-R, right? I don't know, crocodiles differ a lot from alligators because crocodiles, etc., whereas alligators, etc., right? Okay, so in that case, he had to postpone it all. One more time. An invitation to dinner was soon afterwards dispatched, and already had Mrs. Bennet planned the courses here we're talking about the dishes, right? That were to do credit to her housekeeping, you know. She wanted to show incredible good dishes to do credit to her very nice, competent way of keeping her housekeeping. When an answer arrived which deferred it all. Mr. Bingley was obliged to be in town the following day, and consequently unable to accept the honor of their invitation, etc. Okay, so there is a little symbol there, a C and a period. That's one possible abbreviation of etc. Right? Question for you: why is that etc. there? Answer. Take a look. And consequently unable to accept the honor of their invitation, etc. And then probably you had all the protocol, right? Even though he is much, I don't know, disappointed at the circumstances, etc., right? Mrs. Bennet was quite disconcerted. Disconcerted. She could not, let me see if I put anything here in our list for disconcerted. No, I didn't. Because it's similar to Portuguese, right? I don't think you were going to have a problem with the disconcerted. Do we say that in Portuguese? Yes, we do. Desconcertado, right? Okay. Mrs. Bennet was quite disconcerted. She could not imagine what business he could have in town so soon after his arrival in Hertfordshire. And she began to fear that he might be always flying about from one place to another and never settled at Netherfield as he ought to be. Okay, question: why do you think he ought to be settled in Netherfield?